Hi, how you doing? I'm going to do another fight breakdown. This time we're going to be looking at what is quite clearly the greatest film ever made. And it's got a very famous fight scene in it. And we're going to look through that bit by bit, and we're going to analyse what's going on. And we'll try and take the background of the characters into consideration a little, because that was something that was brought up in one of the fight breakdowns I've done recently. So, without any further ado, let's get on to the first bit of the fight, setting the scene.
Inconceivable! Give her to me. Catch up with us quickly.
What did I do?
Finish him. Finish him. Your way.
Oh, good. My way. Thank you, Fezzik.
So the scene is set. We've got a criminal mastermind who's clearly kidnapped a princess, and he's instructed his giant of a mercenary to stop the man in black from following them. Let's see how it develops from here.
Which was my way?
Pick up one of those rocks. Get behind the boulder. In a few minutes, the man in black will come running around the bend. The minute his head is in view, hit it with the rock!
My way is not a sportsmanlike.
So Fezzik the giant is under orders to pick up a large rock and smash the man in black's head with the rock. Clearly, he's not particularly keen on this, which gives us a little bit of an idea about how this is going to play out. Clearly, whilst being an absolute giant of a man, Fezzik does have some morals. He's obviously in a bit of an ethical dilemma about whether this is an appropriate way to behave, and says this doesn't seem very sportsmanlike, but he picks up the rock all the same. And now we see his opponent for the first time. Fast, athletic, dressed in black, so clearly very skilled. And also carrying a rapier. So this is a man who knows how to fight. He comes towards the rocky area and he stops and looks around. We see rocks lying on the floor. This is a clue. He's obviously cautious. This is not a man to rush into trouble headlong. He's gonna think it through.
I did that on purpose. I don't have to miss.
So, just as we thought, Fezzik's morals are coming into play here. He could have killed the man in black straight out without him ever knowing. He didn't have to miss. He did that on purpose.
I believe you. So what happens now?
We face each other as God intended. Sportsmanlike. No tricks, no weapons. Skill against skill alone.
So now we've got a rule set. We've set the fight up. We know what's going to happen. Fezzik's going to put down his rock. The man in black's going to put down his sword. And they'll face each other as God intended. I can't help but think, though, that the odds are slightly in Fezzik's favour.
You mean you'll put down your rock and I'll put down my sword and we'll try and kill each other like civilized people?
I can kill you now.
Frankly, I think the odds are slightly in your favor at hand fighting.
It's not my fault being the biggest and the strongest. I don't even exercise.
I like this giant. It's not his fault he's the biggest and the strongest. He doesn't even exercise. Let's see how the fight plays out. The two fighters assume their guard positions. They start moving towards each other. This is likely to end badly for the man in black. He rushes in, he tries a shoulder barge, hooks around, tries to pop him over. If he makes that work, fantastic, but clearly the giant's strength is just too much for him. The shoulder barge and takedown didn't work, clearly, so this time he runs in again and goes for a suplex. He gets both arms around his waist and goes to pick him up, but again, he can't do it. But Fezzik isn't really responding. Is he just fiddling around with him or something?
Look, are you just fiddling around with me or what?
I just want you to feel you're doing well. I hate for people to die on bad. You're quick.
Yet again, this fight's being dominated by Fezzik the Giant's morals here. He obviously has this problem with just killing somebody really easily because he's a giant guy. But we begin to see that perhaps this might be his downfall. He steps in to grab the man in black, who darts through his legs and stands up behind him. Perhaps this isn't going to be quite as easy as he thought.
Why are you wearing a mask? Were you burned by acid or something like that?
Oh no, it's just they're terribly comfortable. I think everyone will be wearing them in the future.
We see here a few things. Firstly, that these two combatants clearly don't really want to be fighting each other. They're going to, and it's a real fight, but they're chatting. We see Fezzik step in with a couple of big punches, much as you would expect from somebody who's relied on their strength and size. They're not particularly accurate, but if they were to hit, you'd certainly know about it. But the man in black ducks and weaves and dodges and manages to evade them, and then pops up on the rock and around and leaps onto Fezzik's back. And here's where things start to change.
I just figured when you give me so much trouble.
Why is that?
So he's big, he's strong, but he's not hugely fast, and he's not particularly flexible. He can't reach round to get at the man in black on his back, so he slams backwards into the rock, hoping to dislodge him using his size and the rock behind him to squash him. But that doesn't work. He holds on. The man in black knows that this is the only chance he's got to win this fight.
Do you think?
Well, I haven't fought just one person for so long. Been specializing in groups, battling gangs for local charities, that kind of thing.
Why should that make such a difference?
He moves forwards, he tries to get his hands in and pull the arm away from his neck. Now, this is not a choke I'm familiar with. This is a somewhat unusual technique, but clearly it's working, so we're not going to worry about that. Fezzik can't dislodge him, so he slams him back into the rock again, and a third time, and they're still talking. And that's quite nice, because, you know, let's be friends.
You see, you use different moves when you're fighting. Half a dozen people. Then we only have to be one. I'm at one.
Again, I'm a little unsure about this choke. It's not one I've come across, so I don't know what it's called. I'm going to call it the Dread Pirate Roberts choke. But it's clearly working. And Fezzik explains why he's not at his best at this point. He's used to fighting large groups of people. You use different moves. He's not really used to fighting one person, especially one person who's quick and agile and knows the Dread Pirate Roberts choke. So Fezzik falls to his knees and down onto his front, and it looks like the man in black has finally won this fight.
I do not envy you the headache you will have when you awake. But in the meantime, rest well and dream of large women.
The man in black clearly doesn't hold a grudge against Fezzik for this. He knows that he was just doing his job. But even with that in mind, the two of them have had a really quite entertaining and friendly fight, and he makes it clear that he's not cross, but he still rolls him onto his back just to increase the chances of him dying and choking because his airway's closed. So if you do choke someone out, and you are going to leave them on the ground, don't roll them onto the back, please. But other than that, absolutely perfect. Can't fault the man in black, and I think we'll all have to go away trying to practice the Dread Pirate Roberts choke. Now, In a video fairly recently, I suggested that I was going to do something a little bit special when I got to 10,000 subscribers. That's a way off yet, but the subscriber numbers are creeping up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. There's a lot more of these fight breakdowns coming out, and there's other stuff that I'm talking about as well. If you're interested in historical European martial arts, bare knuckle boxing, classical pugilism, catch-as-catch-can wrestling, and some of the stuff that's going on in my own life. I've recently started training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well as catch wrestling, so we're going to be comparing those as I train and hopefully as I learn stuff. That's what this channel's all about. But what I'd like to do to celebrate 10,000 subscribers is actually remake one of the fights that we've done a breakdown of in a more authentic way. And what we'll do is when we approach 10,000, I'll put them out there and you guys can vote on which one you want. And the one that gets the most votes is the fight that I'll rope somebody in for, and we will recreate in an authentic classical pugilism style. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this one. There'll be more videos coming out soon, so do subscribe. And if you're feeling particularly generous, check out my Patreon link. You can support me in making these videos, and maybe eventually I'll be able to buy some really nice editing software and we can make them even better than they already are. Thanks guys, take care, I'll see you soon.